The Canadian side of the Ambassador Bridge is still closed tonight. According to Canada Border Services, it has been closed since Monday night because of exactly what you're looking at here. And communities near the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit and in Windsor, Ontario, they're pushing for this trucker blockade on the Canadian side of the bridge to end. Windsor police tweeted out a warning, though, asking people just avoid this area. They say those who do go that way expect some delays. Police are also concerned because they say residents keep calling 911 and it's inundating their services. They're asking people to stop doing that they are aware the bridge is closed. And the city there in Windsor is asking for federal assistance. The Department of Homeland Security is warning U.S. cities that they could start seeing similar blockades to what we've seen in Windsor happening all across Canada. The so-called Freedom Convoy has been disrupting the peace in Canada's capital city for weeks. The disruptions are also now cutting off trade for a fourth day here at the Detroit-Windsor border. They've forced Ford, General Motors, and other car companies to shut down assembly lines and scale back on their production. Windsor, Ontario's mayor says it's like a foot on the throat of all Canadians.
That individuals on site are trespassing on municipal property and, if need be, will be removed to allow for the safe and efficient movement of goods across the border.
Now, that is something he didn't say yesterday, stepping back on that, moving people away from that location. So we'll see what happens in the coming days. The DHS bulletin says a U.S. copycat convoy could start this weekend and disrupt traffic around the Super Bowl. It says a convoy may be aiming to reach Washington in time for the State of the Union address in March. France and Belgium have now banned blockades to head off similar potential disruptions in their countries. Michigan State Police Bay Region tweeted out this afternoon to avoid the area surrounding the Blue Water Bridge in Port Huron. They say there are lengthy delays on both the U.S. and the Canadian sides. This is the entry point to Canada, though, that the Canada Border Services has been advising all week for commercial traffic to use. Today, Governor Gretchen Whitmer stopped short of telling the Canadian government how to resolve the Ambassador Bridge shutdown, but did say something must be done.
The fact of the matter is, this is compromising and jeopardizing many jobs in the state of Michigan. We know that the autos are already starting to slow down. Some are closed or anticipate being closed within days. This needs to be resolved. So I have been on the horn with our Canadian ambassador, with the White House, with our congressional delegation, with some of the premiers in Canada. I mean, I am imploring them to get this resolved.
Mid-Michigan Now reached out to the Flint assembly plant today to see if the border blockade was impacting production. Now, spokesperson Jack Crawley tells us Flint assembly is running as scheduled. And we also have an update tonight from the Lansing Delta Township GM plant. There, they have production resuming on first shift in the morning. Yesterday and today, they had shifts that canceled, they say, because of what's happening at the Ambassador Bridge. Governor Whitmer had this to say about the impact it's having on Michigan's auto industry.
We're pulling out all the stops. I know that General Motors and Ford are looking at alternative routes for getting some supplies in, but there's nothing that can even it out.
Locally, the Ambassador Bridge closure and the Freedom Trucking Convoy, it's causing some supply chain issues. And with an already problematic supply chain backup, economists are worried about how this could continue to impact supply of certain products.
Several proposed maps have been circulating around the city trying to redraw Flint's wards. Now, the deadline for this was just last week, and City Council has not voted on anything yet. The city clerk tells me this needs to happen immediately.
What happens if, for whatever reason, this is prolonged?
Well, I'm not going to jail for anybody. I'll put it that way, okay?
The city of Flint missed the state deadline to submit its new maps for city ward districts. Now, City Clerk Inez Brown says the urgency behind finalizing a decision on new maps is crucial.
It has to be done soon, ASAP. But I want the community to know that we're working very closely with our entire community in a very sensitive way.
State law requires each ward to be divided up equally to have the same amount of residents with only a 1% difference. Brown says because last year's census report showed over an 81,000 decrease in Flint's population, city ward boundaries have to be changed. The holdup on redistricting approval comes from residents and council members feeling blindsided by how the maps were drawn, saying prominent Black communities are being cut short and the representation is on the line.
We have these people out here that didn't come to me and asked me what I felt about changing the boundaries. They didn't knock on my door. And how did they just bypass so many people? People of color. Are we trying to make Flint white again?
The final approval for new redistricting maps has to come from City Council. Currently, there are 5 proposed maps out for them to consider, but only one can be sent to Lansing.
Before we can send things on to the state, the City Council will have to approve what we have put together.
Several members of Flint City Council made it clear they won't be supporting the first few maps, while former City Councilwoman and several residents showed their support for the newest map.
I've stated from the beginning that as a public servant, it is my responsibility to represent the voice of the community. That means voting no on Citizen 2.
There are flaws in all of them, but definitely Citizen 1 and Citizen 2 have to be tossed.
Brown wasn't able to give a time frame on when these districts will go into place, but says they will need to change. She stresses City Council needs to vote on a map and send it to the state as soon as possible.